Hey, welcome to the Sprinkled Spoon. I'm Cassie, and today we're going to be making some chocolate eggs filled with marshmallow cream and cookie butter. And let me tell you, they are to die for. The first thing we're going to need is 10 ounces of chocolate melts. So we're going to put these in a microwave safe bowl. I'm going to microwave these in 30-second intervals, stirring in between until we get a nice smooth chocolate. We also want to make sure we don't overheat this, or else the chocolate will seize up and we won't be able to use it. This is after 1 minute in the microwave. And I just did another 30 seconds and it looks like we're just about perfect here. So 1 minute and 30 seconds is how long mine took. But microwaves vary, so it could be different for yours. Now I have a silicone egg mold that we're going to put some of the chocolate in. So I'm just going to spoon a little bit of the chocolate into the mold and just spread it around. To coat it. And I'll do that for each one. If there's extra in there, you can kind of scoop that out. We're gonna do a second coat to thicken it up. You don't want a bunch of chocolate just right at the top of the egg. Now I'm gonna pop these in the freezer for a few minutes and we'll get some of our other ingredients ready. Next I have my Biscoff cookies. And you can use however much of these you want. I'm going to use about half of the package. And I'm putting them in a Ziploc. And then I'm just going to use a meat mallet and crush them up into small pieces. So I'll just set these aside. We don't need them just yet. Next, I'm gonna stand a piping bag up in a glass and just pull the side down over and open it up in the center. And I'm gonna take my Biscoff creamy cookie butter and I'm gonna put some into the piping bag. Now you'll probably only need about 4 ounces. You don't necessarily have to measure it out, but that's probably about what you'll need to make 8 of the eggs. And then we'll just push this down as much as we can without cutting the tip off yet. And then I'm going to take another piping bag and stand it in the glass. And in this one, we're going to put our marshmallow fluff. So we'll need about the same amount, about 4 ounces. And then we'll just press that down as far as we can get it without cutting the tip off. Okay, so I've got my egg molds out of the freezer. So I'm gonna put some more of my chocolate melts into the egg mold. I wanna just strengthen this up a little bit more so that it's not too thin when I take it out. I don't want it to break. If you need to reheat your chocolate, you can. Mine is still nice and liquidy, so I don't need to reheat it. Okay, so I'm gonna pop these back in the freezer for a couple more minutes and just let them set up and then we'll be ready to fill them. While my eggs are setting up in the freezer, I'm gonna go ahead and cut the tips off of the piping bags and get my ingredients ready to go inside. So I'm just gonna cut a tip off of this piping bag. You can do it smaller or larger. The cookie butter is kind of stiff, so I'm doing a pretty good size hole there. And then I'm just gonna push the cookie butter down to the end. I don't want it coming out yet. And then I'll do the same for the marshmallow fluff one. Okay, so now we're just gonna put in our cookie butter and our marshmallow fluff. So we'll start with the marshmallow fluff. So I'm just gonna pipe some in, fill it up about halfway with the marshmallow fluff. Okay, and now we're gonna put the cookie butter on just the same way, just right on top of the marshmallow fluff. And if you want to, you can go ahead and like smooth this out a little bit. It's not necessary, but you can if you want. And now one more thing for the filling, we're just gonna take our crushed up cookies and sprinkle some of those inside. Okay, now we're gonna put some chocolate over the top of that. So if your chocolate is cooled down too much, you may need to heat it for 30 seconds more in the microwave. Mine is still good, so I'm gonna go ahead and just put this over the top and then just spread it so that it all touches the edges. If your chocolate isn't overheated, it should just set up at room temperature, but I'm popping it in the freezer just to speed up the process. Okay, so the eggs are set up. So I'm gonna go ahead and pop it out. And then you can see here we have some excess. So you can use your hand to get that off, or a butter knife, whatever you find the easiest, just to get that extra chocolate off of there so that they look nice and pretty. And then I'm just gonna set them on the baking sheet when I'm finished. Now I wanted to show you this one. I didn't completely get the chocolate touching on both spots, so you can see some of the cookie butter. So just be aware of that when you're filling the molds. You want to make sure the chocolate goes all the way up the mold and all the way touching across the top too. Now I have my remaining chocolate that I melted in the microwave for about 30 seconds, and I've put it in a piping bag. I'm just going to cut off a very small tip of the piping bag and drizzle it across the eggs. And I have some rainbow sprinkles that I'm going to sprinkle on the drizzle while it's still wet. And lastly, I'm going to sprinkle some of my Biscoff cookie crumbles while the drizzle's still wet too. Look how gooey and delicious those are. I'll see you next time.